Tonight, we continue our special report, diving into the history of the correction system on tribal lands in North Dakota. As a former U.S. attorney explained to KX News, there's nowhere else in America where your citizenship affects which law enforcement agency shows up to help you. As our crime and investigative reporter Renee Cooper reports tonight, that complex web of jurisdictions carries over into the court system, causing a domino effect resulting in fewer prosecutions and a loophole for criminals from outside of tribal lands.
For the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, this law enforcement center is home to police, the tribal district and Supreme Courts, and right next to it, the jail.
We're talking about communities that you have to prioritize what resources you have. And I'm sure if Standing Rock had more resources, then there would be a different building.
Standing Rock Supreme Court Associate Justice Grant Christensen tells me it's a perfect example of life in Native country. And according to Christensen, the trouble for tribal justice began with a Supreme Court decision back in 1978.
And that's been a fight for, 30 to 50 years.
The U.S. Supreme Court, in this case, Oliphant, said that tribes do not have criminal jurisdiction over non-Indian persons.
MHA Nation Chairman Mark Fox says it created a bad situation where non-Native perpetrators began taking advantage of a sort of immunity on tribal lands.
It'd be similar to somebody claiming that comes from Montana and crosses into North Dakota and commits a serious crime, and then says to them, well, you can't prosecute me, only Montana can.
Even in cases in recent years where tribal officers are cross-deputized and can cite and in many cases arrest a non-Native person, it doesn't mean they can be tried in tribal court. Tribal courts can prosecute major crimes where an enrolled member is the defendant, but with the exception of Standing Rock's district court, they generally don't.
We could say aggravated assault underneath our laws, we're going to prosecute you here. We can do that. But we are limited in our jurisdiction, even over our enrolled members.
It's true. The reason being, tribes can only impose a minimal sentence. Erin Shanley was a district court judge on Standing Rock for about 5 years, up until July, when she became the in-house counsel. For the purposes of this report, she is not speaking on behalf of the Sioux tribe.
Tribal courts were limited under the Indian Civil Rights Act. The sentencing power was limited to 6 months and a $500 fine. That was amended to a maximum sentence of a year in jail and a $5,000 fine.
So in order to achieve justice for victims, major violent crimes generally fall on federal prosecution through the U.S. Attorney's Office, if they take the case.
And that's one of the biggest issues that we got in Indian country, is that the federal government is busy. The federal government's got priorities that don't always include the Indian reservations. And so when that happens, they begin to create these standards of when they're going to prosecute and when they're not.
Here's a look at how often U.S. attorneys across the country decline cases from tribal lands. The most recent data from the Department of Justice shows 39% of cases were declined prosecution in 2018. It doesn't fluctuate much all the way back to 2011 when there was a 38% declination rate. This data is a result of the 2010 Tribal Law and Order Act that required the DOJ to release how many cases result in indictment or are declined by U.S. attorneys' offices every year from every reservation in the country. That accountability did not exist before. And in North Dakota, the rate is higher than the national average. You can see it's fluctuated over the last few years, but in both 2015 and 2018, more cases were declined than prosecuted.
I'm not saying a declination rate should ever be zero, but it is a rough metric that is useful, I think, in looking at how an office is doing.
Tim Purdon, a former U.S. attorney, says the struggle with crime rates in Native country is unjust. He wrote an anti-violence strategy to tackle the problem head on in 2011.
We worked hard to get additional agents, additional focus by the FBI. We increased the resources we were devoting to those issues, and I like to think that things got better for a period of time.
We've got a special trust obligation out there.
Drew Wrigley is in his 10th year as the current U.S. attorney in North Dakota. He first served from 2001 to 2009 and was appointed again in 2019. Wrigley tells me the vast majority of cases his office declines are because they don't have jurisdiction after all.
Well, that's a declination. It's really just a reassignment.
The rest, he says, is due to a lack of evidence.
100% of the provable felony cases that make it to our desks in the U.S. Attorney's Office, we prosecute. So that's not the holdup.
On a national level, in 2018, 64.3% of declinations were for this reason. Only about 18% were actually referred back to the tribes or to the state.
I know many of the FBI agents. They are working their tails off. They're just overwhelmed.
As a former U.S. Senator and North Dakota Attorney General,
I've lived in North Dakota my whole life.
Heidi Heitkamp says the DOJ has to do more.
The resources still aren't there. The collaboration still isn't there. We absolutely have to do better if we are going to change outcomes.
Beyond that, autonomy is the goal. And you can ask just about every one of the 15 people I interviewed on this project, and they'll tell you the same thing. The solution should be sovereignty. In other words, the ability to prosecute anyone who commits a crime on tribal land. But as was made clear in the months I spent searching for answers, that won't come easy. The Tribal Law and Order Act of 2010 moved in that direction, tripling the sentencing power for tribes, allowing a max of 3 years per offense for a 15-year maximum and $15,000 in fines. But, as Shanley explains, the tribe would have to actually amend its constitution to implement the new law, which has been unsuccessful for several reasons.
Our facilities are not adequate to house people long term. They're constantly over capacity, so we don't want to take on this additional responsibility without the ability to fulfill it.
She tells me when she was a tribal court judge, they were constantly forced to release people early. She says this is a predicament a lot of tribes are finding themselves in. In the Turtle Mountains, Chairman Jamie Azure says the way to sovereignty is through economic self-sufficiency.
The truth is that the BIA and the federal government has dropped their trust responsibilities from day one. You know, we're underfunded, we're undermanned. We are held under the thumb on a lot of different things that are federally funded because of that funding.
The chairman, who was just elected to a second term in November, tells me the tribe is very dependent on federal grant funding. But he says the last few years have brought strides toward new, diversified, local income sources.
And if that takes, putting our foot down and flexing that sovereign muscle, to get some things moving, then that's what we're going to do. And I would bet any money that all tribes would have that same sentiment.
Reporting for KX News from North Dakota's tribal nations, Renee Cooper.
Former U.S. Attorney Tim Purton says nothing is stopping Congress from restoring tribal jurisdiction over all crime committed on tribal lands by overturning the Oliphant case in a single bill. This could lower violence rates, particularly sexual violence, because right now, outside offenders know they can get away with it on tribal lands. We'll have more on that coming up tomorrow night. But as Purton tells us, tribes are not going to arrest and prosecute their way out of high crime rates. No one is. In fact, the recidivism rate on Standing Rock is at least 90%. Comparatively, the reoffense rate at the State Department of Corrections is typically less than half of that. Shannon Silbernagel is the lead probation officer for the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. She operates out of this trailer. She's been in her current position for well over 10 years, and before that, she was the first probation officer the tribal nation ever had. She tells KX News the reason for the incredibly high reoffense rate is complicated, involving the tribe's inability to address the root causes of crime, like substance abuse and the lack of economic opportunity on Standing Rock. Because of a lack of funding to address those underlying issues, many just end up back in custody. But Silbernagel says the caseload is too big, with 412 people currently being monitored in probation by herself and only 2 other probation officers. Because the territory spans 8 districts and 2.3 million acres, she says they really can't get to all of the local districts to monitor people.
And I believe that if we had the staff, that we could reduce that recidivism because they would expect us, they would know we're coming.
Purton says the keys to reducing reoffense anywhere are enforcement, crime prevention, and support services for re-entering the community, which would ultimately require more funding and personnel. And because probation services all come from federal funding, a big portion of Silbernagel's time is taken up by grant applications, something the state doesn't rely on nearly as heavily. She did say the tribe recently received a grant for a Healing to Wellness Court, a program designed to help reoffenders heal from addiction and close the revolving door.